For those of you listening over Apple and Spotify, Jason is dressed up as Tennessee politician Justin Pearson.
I'll walk him out. Y'all going? Let go. Let go. You got me all tied up. Now you got me all tied up. My brother ain't doing nothing to nobody. He ain't doing nothing to nobody. You'll walk out by yourself. Move the back. Boy! Yeah, let Rep Pearson go. Let Rep Pearson go. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? You stupid mother.
You have not tuned in to the wrong channel. I am Jason Whitlock. I am somebody. I am Afro Al Sharpton, standing in complete solidarity with my brother in Memphis, the Nashville politician who was in Memphis yesterday, standing in protest to the redrawn congressional maps that will undermine black people all across America. We have lost our congressional map, and therefore we will lose the great white Jewish gay man who has been representing Memphis for 20 years as a black man. We have lost our black representation. And I could not begin today's show without standing in solidarity with Brother Pearson, with Brother Steve Cohen. Could we put a picture of Brother Steve Cohen on the screen? Our dear black, gay, Jewish, white brother. We have lost him to a redrawn racist map. And so I could not come here today and just talk about the Los Angeles Lakers and the whining and complaining that they did about losing to the OKC Thunder. I will talk about that today, but I must first stand with my brother, Justin Pearson, and all brothers around the world, all brothers across America. We have lost our congressional match to these racist Donald Trump supporting congressmen because we don't want a black woman to represent Memphis. For 20 years, our interests have been represented by our dear vanilla brother, Steve Cohen. So I'm here today to add my voice to the voices crying out in solidarity with Justin Pearson. Did you see his speech from the floor? Did you see his speech? And I believe I said it was Memphis, but I believe they was right here in Nashville. Did you see his speech from the floor? Did you see the black women standing on tables? It's the least I could do is come here and sit in my chair with my kente cloth and my afro and remind you all that nothing has changed. 2026 is no different than 1826. We are still in bondage. But let us hear from our great young brother, Justin Pearson. Let's hear from his speech. Play, I believe it's SOT 12.
Minutes.
These maps are racist tools of white supremacy at the behest of the most powerful white supremacist in the United States of America, Donald J. Trump. Memphis is the most beautiful place on the planet. It's the place that raised me, my brothers, my parents, my grandmothers, and where my ancestors' bones rest. And what you are doing today is eviscerating the only black majority congressional district in our state because we are majority black. We are here because this Republican Party has to seek to steal elections and seats because the president and the party have refused to address the pain, the suffering, and the struggling of everyday Tennesseans. This is about attacking, targeting, and cracking District 9 into pieces for more political and racial dominance and white supremacy in the state of Tennessee. And we need to realize that the Calais decision that you all are basing your decisions off of, that gutted the Voting Rights Act, that Voting Rights Act was paid in blood. It was not just a parchment of paper signed into law. It was paid in blood on the Edmund Pettus Bridge. Paid in blood by Medgar Evers, paid in blood by Fannie Lou Hamer. It's been paid in blood year over year, time after time, assassination after assassination, lynching after lynching, so that more people might be able to ascertain access to this constitutional democratic republic experiment that is currently being gutted and seeking to be gutted by this chamber, by this House, this Senate, and this state. What is happening here is immoral and wrong.
Justin Pearson, I could not say it more eloquently. Justin, I would advise you, though, that this is a family show. And where you choose and who you allow to bury bones, ancestor or otherwise, I think that's TMI, and we don't need to hear about it. That's between you and Steve Cohen. Not everybody in the world needs to know where you bury your ancestors' bones. But I don't want to distract from the young brother's eloquent speech. It was amazing. And the transformation of this young brother has been amazing. Pardon me for a minute while I clear my throat. The transformation of Justin Pearson from Carlton, from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, to Afro Skinny Al Sharpton has been amazing. Could we show the before and after pictures of Justin Pearson and the incredible transformation of this young man? That there, ladies and gentlemen, is just a young suburban African-American gentleman. Now, that's Afro Al Sharpton with a little bit of Malcolm X, MLK, and Louis Farrakhan mixed in. Oh, what a beautiful transformation Justin Pearson has undergone. He has gone from playing with the snow bunnies to bending over for Steve Cohen. Oh, this transformation. It's unbelievable what politics will do and can do for you. This man has risked his life for Steve Cohen to continue to make decisions for black people in Memphis. But I want to play you the full Justin Pearson speech. Let's play the back half of his speech.
I was reading my Bible early this morning, asking God why this is happening. Why, again, does it seem that white supremacy is seeming to gain? Why, again, does it seem like the pillars of pain that we have felt and experienced for over 400 years in this country continue to rise again? And whispered in the words of this Bible and in the words of those ancestors that have gone before us is just these simple words: we're still here. We are still here. This nation, this state has legislated and legalized the worst things in humanity, including our enslavement, and we are still here. Right in this country where, as one black woman said, your ancestors enslaved us, denied us of our rights, called us 3/5 of a person, and yet we are still here. You put us on cotton plantations and tobacco plantations. You denied our human rights and our right to exist as children of God, and we are still here. You destroyed Tulsa. You killed and lynched black folks on poplar trees. Shelby County, Tennessee had the most lynchings of anywhere in this state where you're taking this district, and we are still here. You've had 3 strikes laws, mass incarceration, denied us of who we are, and we are still here. And today you'll take the only majority black district from us. But I want you to know, and I want my nephew, sons, and the future to know, no matter what you do, no matter how much you try and break us and make us bend and make us quit, we will still be here.
Justin Pearson, awesome speech. Beautiful. Might I add, though, Justin, that pain that you continue to feel, you might ease that pain by not letting your ancestors bury their bones any and everywhere. Not letting Steve Cohen bury his bone any and everywhere. That might ease the pain, Justin Pearson. But other than that, I cannot complain about, I can only celebrate what Justin Pearson, what the young brother had to say. We are still here. And we will always be here as long as Justin Pearson and people like Justin Pearson are in control of black thought and black behavior. As long as we don't change, our circumstances will not change. So we are still here at the bottom of the educational map, at the bottom of the marriage map, at the bottom of economic mobility map. We are still here on our knees begging white folks to save us because of the beautiful leadership of Afro Al Sharpton, Justin Peterson, and those who think like him. We are still here at the bottom of America. We are being surpassed by every immigrant group that comes into America, including the Somalis. They got quality learning centers. What do we have? Justin, have you put a quality learning center in Nashville, in Memphis? So yes, we are still here on our knees, begging Steve Cohen to save us. And we will be here 100 years from now, begging Steve Cohen's, well, he won't have kids, begging his ancestors to save us. Congratulations, Justin Pearson. I had to get that off my chest as a black man living here in Tennessee. I had to add my voice, lend my voice in supporting Justin Pearson and all the black Democrats and all the black victims and all the black liberals and all the black feminist, matriarchal people of America. I had to lend my voice in support because we need to keep doing the same thing and begging and praying for different results. It's worked this well so far, so we should continue. I will. I'm going to keep the costume on, but we are going to talk some basketball. We're going to talk some sports. That's what we do here in Fearless. But I could not start this show without, giving a nod to the news of the day, news right here in Tennessee. When I'm going to take a short break. I'm going to keep my afro on, maybe take these glasses off because these glasses are not helping. They're blurring my vision. Keep my kente cloth on. And we'll talk some NBA. The Lakers lost last night by 18 again, and they went to whining and complaining about the referees. We'll talk about that with Skapinac and Dre Baldwin. Next. Playing the Washington Mystics, Angel Reese put on a show. Check out these highlights. Girl was in her bag. This is a bad sign for the WNBA. Another bad sign. In connection with all the empty seats at the Indiana Fever's last preseason game, here you have second or third, fourth highest profile player in the WNBA, and she simply is brutal offensively heading into her third season. And these players are now making seven-figure salaries. This deal is going to be mimicked and called out the entire season. What are we paying for? Why is Angel Reese one of the biggest stars in the WNBA when she's one of the most brutal basketball players we've ever seen? Yes, she can rebound. She can rebound and defend a little bit. This kind of offense, and WNBA players are making seven-figure salaries, this is going to be ridiculed the entire season, and it should be ridiculed. The momentum that the WNBA has had, they've blown it. They've destroyed Caitlin Clark, they've destroyed her fan base, and now players like Angel Reese and the new collective bargaining agreement that allows these players to get overpaid. They're flying private. Some of them are making seven-figure salaries. It's all going to get called out. It all needs to get called out. This is brand mismanagement. This is a league that has no idea what's around the corner.
LeBron has, I think, taken 5 free throws here in 2 games. What have you seen him be like attacking and downhill? And are you surprised he hasn't been able to get to the line more?
Well, he gets clobbered on that one, with Jalen Williams coming over trying to block the shot when he spun baseline on Dort. That was in that stretch as well. LeBron has the worst whistle of any star player I've ever seen. I mean, I've been with him 2 years now. There's, again, the smaller guys, because they can be theatric, they typically draw more fouls, and the bigger players that are, built like LeBron, it's hard for them. But he gets clobbered, and he got clobbered again tonight a bunch, and that's not like a new thing. That's not specific to this crew or this series. He gets fouled a lot that doesn't happen. I mean, guy gets hit on the head more than any player I've seen on drives, and it rarely gets called. So. Yeah, I mean, I sarcastically said the other day they were the most disruptive team without fouling. I mean, they have a few guys that foul on every possession, and all the good. SGA gets like I don't even know, a touch foul, I guess, on a drive. There was a stretch where 4 straight possessions, our guys got absolutely clobbered trying to make an entry pass to Jackson, and Jalen Williams is grabbing his jersey with both arms. That's a turn. They're hard enough to play. They're hard enough to play. You've got to be able to just call it if they foul, and they do foul.
It's actually the Lakers are usually the team that always win the free throw battle. So this is
this is
a little new to him that they're getting clobbered a lot. But yeah, it's just something you need to work the ref. You need to work already, position yourself for the next game, and that's just part of the plan.
I play those clips not to eviscerate or criticize J.J. Redick or the Lakers. The Lakers are frustrated. I think they've lost 6 straight to OKC, or they're 0-6 this year against OKC. They lost by 18 in the game before. They lost by 18 last night. There's nothing they can do with OKC. OKC is a very frustrating team. They have virtually no weaknesses, and they're playing in a league that has been softened by the international global agenda of the NBA. And so I want you to think about that in terms of America used to be the home of hypermasculinity. Men were more masculine here than in Europe, or, more stereotypically masculine. We, stiff upper lip don't complain, play a tough form of basketball, football, baseball, whatever. When you go international and when your players start traveling international every offseason, they start fantasizing about their star power in China and other countries and how much shoe money they can make in other countries. When the Dream Team in 1992 is connected to this, when David Stern and the whole international approach to the NBA and basketball, well, you're going to get the international personality. You're going to get the emasculated man. And that's what we have in the NBA. It's a foul-baiting league. It looks like soccer. Those of us that have never fully jumped on board with soccer, part of our complaint for 30, 40 years, like, look at these guys and the foul baiting and the histrionics they go through trying to bait the refs into calling things. We used to mock and laugh at that. And that's why we didn't like soccer. And now that same attitude, that same style of play has come to the NBA because the NBA wants to be international and European, and we want to be like everybody else. We don't want to be uniquely American. And so we don't have a uniquely American basketball game. It's not refereed like a uniquely American basketball game. And the players don't act uniquely American because many of them are not. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's from Canada. And LeBron James has got swept up, and he's a foul baiter. And that's why, again, I'm like, cut it out, Lakers. I get how frustrating OKC is. I get that, you're bothered. But you guys do the same thing, and that's what Dirk Nowitzki's pointing out. Just because they do it better, don't be mad at OKC. Last thing before I get to Jay Skapinac and Dre Baldwin, I want to give one more tiny piece of context to this conversation. Jay Williams, the ESPN broadcaster, former Duke star, former NBA player, he said something this morning about OKC that I thought was brilliant, and I'm going to enter into the conversation. Let's play the Jay Williams clip.
The scary thing about Oklahoma City isn't just that they're great. It's that they're one of the most successful teams potentially to ever play the game that secretly people can't stand watching. Now look, their depth is endless. It's literally wave after wave. Perfect example, last evening. But the flopping, the foul baiting, the constant manipulation of angles and officiating at times feels less like basketball and more like a legal hustle at full speed. They may be the first historically dominant team in which the analytics love them more than the fans do. They beat the hell out of you physically. They exhaust you psychologically. And literally every possession feels like a negotiation with the refs. That's who OKC is in a nutshell.
Thought that was a great take by Jay Williams. Jay Skapinac, Dre Baldwin, welcome into the conversation. Let's start there with Jay Williams. What'd you think about his take there?
Is Jason, can you confirm, is he still with the Mothership Network, ESPN?
Yes,
at
he's
this
still
time?
with ESPN, yes.
Okay, good. I thought so because it looked like he's like hiding in a closet, like trying to get that takeout. Like he's going against his employer's back. Jay Will, blink twice if you're safe. Do you need us to send help, a search party or something like that? With that said, great take by Jay Williams. And that's what, I've kind of been talking to it to some degree for like 2 years now. It's frustrating. Again, let me just reinsert like the double standard, Jason. The things they're allowed to do on defense in clobbering, manhandling, and physically just beating the crap out of their opponent. And then you sneeze or breathe heavily on Shai and he's shooting 12 free throws like in clutch time. It's so utterly frustrating and infuriating to play that team. But it is what it is. Like to JJ Redick's point and his frustrations, like that team has a bunch of guys who have garnered reputations as defensively oriented pieces, which guys that have that reputation or earn that reputation typically have a more lenient whistle. Well, Oklahoma City has an entire roster of those guys. Secondly, the officials generally give a little leniency to the more physical team that is holding and fouling all game long because, quite frankly, they can't call every single one of those. So Oklahoma City is consistently doing that all year long. Credit to them. They don't take nights off in the regular season like many of these other teams do. They will grab, hold, and manhandle you all 82 games and into the playoffs to establish that baseline of consistency that this is just what we're supposed to see when we're watching Oklahoma City play. A bunch of great defensive guys who are physical and manhandle you, and I guess that's just the way we're going to have to officiate them and allow them to get away with it. So it's just so frustrating, though, because at the other end, Shea gets the star whistle. He gets all of those things when he flies into someone or throws his body into someone and throws his arms up in the air and doesn't even try to make a basketball move. He's shooting free throws. So I get it. It's not just JJ Redick. A lot of coaches and a lot of players that have to face this team look like that in post-game press conference settings where they look like sour grapes, like they're complaining, but it's just out of desperation and frustration.
Dre, you played international basketball for more than a decade. What do you think of my take that, like, we brought the international game to the NBA, and this is what it looks like? There's foul baiting. It's not as stereotypically masculine as what we saw in the, Charles Oakley, Charles Barkley, Karl Malone era of the NBA, that bringing in the international players has emasculated the NBA, and LeBron James and some of these American players struggle with that.
It's an interesting angle, Jason, because believe it or not, when you're an American playing basketball overseas in Europe, you don't get calls. You actually get no calls. So the Europeans are able to be very physical with you as one of few Americans on the court, and you don't get any calls. And if you say something to the refs, you're definitely not getting any calls, because often they don't speak English. And they take exception to you as the American because they look at you as you're supposed to be much better than the rest of these guys anyway. So who are you complaining to the refs? You're supposed to be, whatever they do, you should be scoring anyway. That's the expectation as a general rule. So it's funny that a lot of that, even the angle that you took here. Now, once the international game, or the players rather, started to come over here because the game went international after 92 with the Dream Team, those first few international players, Sarunas Marciulionis, Arvydas Sabonis, Drazen Petrovic, when they came over here, they had to adjust to the American game. They had to toughen up and deal with the American players being not toughen up, but the athleticism. The American players are just more athletic. So a lot of people have this idea that European players are just better shooters, like the white guys and these Europeans are better shooters than Americans. That's not true. Americans are just equal at shooting. The difference is the defenders in the United States are longer and more athletic, so you have less time to get that shot off, so it's harder to make jump shots in the NBA because of the athleticism of the defense, not the skill of the offense. Another misconception that a lot of people have. And as far as the American game, as far as what's happening with the American game is when the NBA decided after the Detroit Pistons and New York Knicks era, they didn't win a championship, but that Riley era, it was getting so physical and the games were so unwatchable for anyone outside of a diehard fan, the league decided to start relaxing the rules on what you can do with the ball. This is Allen Iverson with his crossover, and calling more fouls to get that physical play out of it so that you can get a more free-flowing game that was more amenable to the eyes of the casual fan. They changed those rules so the casual fan could watch the game and it was more fun. That was the fouling, so that the defense wasn't as tough. And now more people who don't watch basketball diehard can still enjoy the game. It's more fun to watch. So that's what's evolved over the last 25, 30 years. As far as Oklahoma City, yes, they do play the angles. Sam Presti is a person who is known, their GM is known for how do we maximize every angle of the salary cap and the way things work. But also the players, they pick the right players who know how to maximize the way the rules are called and not called. So not only are the players good, but they also play the angles, quote unquote, of the way the game is manipulated. So when you have that combination, it's not like OKC is only winning because of the refs. They're winning because they're good and they've mastered how do we best play this with the way the refs are reffing it. Not to mention that Jalen Williams, who was an all-NBA player last year, hasn't even played yet in this series. So the rest of the NBA is in trouble as long as this keeps going. And we can't say, last point, that the NBA is doing this just because they want OKC to be good. Why do they care? It was David Stern who let those guys, Clay Bennett, take the Seattle Supersonics over to Oklahoma City. They are a small market. If anything, the calls will be going to the Lakers if it was all about TV ratings of the league.
Skap, I want you to jump in here after I make a little comment. I'm not sure if I agree with Dre's position that they limited defense to appeal to more American fans. I think they limited defense to grow the game internationally. And because I was not dissatisfied. I would hear the stories, oh, they only scored 78 points or blah, blah, blah. And I don't remember being a person, and again, this is really stretching my memory, but I don't remember being something like, oh, this basketball is horrible, it's unwatchable. It was just tough. The New York Knicks, it was, Max Kellerman used to always say, and I'm sure still does say, when a fight breaks out, everybody stops what they're doing and says, well, hey, what's going on? And they want to look at the fight. And like Americans have, I think, like the physicality, man, this really means something. Greg Kite and the Boston Celtics would knock the Lakers down, and the Lakers would get Kurt Rambis and their muscle guys to push and fight back. I, as an American, I enjoyed the physicality. It elevated the stakes of the game. I do think the NBA said, no, we want to play a more beautiful game. But I don't know if that had as much to do with the American sports fan as it did like this will grow us globally. Skap, where do you come down?
It's like a which came first, the chicken or the egg type scenario. Like, were they kind of trying to placate the Europeans, or were they trying to placate the American basketball fans? I mean, I would say by and large, like you, I like that style of basketball. Like, and there is a misconception, I think, that some people historically get their time frame mixed up, like that the great defense ended in the 90s and that was it. No. It came into the early 2000s. It was actually that year that the Pistons won the championship against the Lakers with Shaq and Kobe, where it like reached a low point, critical mass for the NBA, where it was like down to 93 points per game in the regular season scoring per team league wide that year. And in the postseason, it was outrageous, Jason. In that early 2000 range, like the winning teams in series of championships were scoring like 87 points per game. So the NBA at that point, the hierarchy sat back and said, yo, we gotta alleviate this defense in some way. So they removed hand checking. They started trying to kind of incentivize offense and free flowing and free movement. But I think I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't know what their end game was or why they did it, what precipitated those decisions. But the irony is ultimately the results were they've actually driven away the diehard, like legitimate basketball fans like me and you. Like, so maybe they did it to try to bring in like a bigger audience or a global audience or to appease the general casual observer in America. But whichever reason they did it for, we're the suffering ones. Like, we're the ones that grew up on the game, that loved the game, that supported it through all the different iterations and eras. Like, we're the ones who have been spit in the face by the league offices and all of these rules changes and stuff. Like, it's ruined our beautiful game and made whatever this abomination is of guys walking up and down the court shooting 53s a game now uncontested.
So can I respond to that? Please. A few things. And first, Jason, I got to ask, do you just have a box of those props in your house or what? How did you just come up with that out of nowhere? So I was just thinking.
Have you listened to Stephen A? I got to move around incognito. So, I keep some costumes so people, can't, put me in a body bag, as Stephen A says. But go ahead.
I can get the wig, but the kente cloth, I don't know where you would come up with that. But anyhow, to respond to what Skap said, this is why the saying has always been defense wins championships. And this is what a lot of people don't get about the game of basketball. You win because the athletes in the NBA are so athletic. They're long, they're tall, they're quick, they're instinctive. So it's hard to get a shot off. It's hard to make a shot against when they just let the rules go as they were set. Defenses just got better and better because the athletes got better, the schemes got better, and you can game plan for any type of offense. This is why Michael Jordan couldn't beat Detroit until Well, first of all, Jordan got better. His teammates got better, but also they tightened up how they were calling that. Because if they let the Pistons keep doing what they were doing, I think Jordan eventually would have broke through because Jordan is Jordan. But the New York Knicks took up the same thing the Pistons were doing. They almost got over the hump because a good defense can beat a good offense in any sport. This is why it's always been defense wins championships. And with the NBA, what I was saying, Jason, was not the American fan, but just a casual fan, period. The three of us, we are sports guys. We like sports. So we will watch basketball no matter what it is. We'll watch the Pistons and the Pacers. We'll watch Detroit and the New York Knicks back in the 90s. And we'll watch this free-flowing style that they have now. But the casual fan, if it's not looking fun, if it's not exciting, if there's not a bunch of points to jump up and scream about, they're not watching. And without the casual fan, you can't expand the game to millions and billions and have the players making money that they're making. So they had to make it more open for any casual fan from anywhere who is not going to die hard watch a game if it's not exciting. It's kind of like you think about boxing. There are certain types of fights that are very exciting because the two guys is stand toe to toe and slug it out. That's exciting for any boxing fan, even if you're not really a fan. But a Floyd Mayweather technical fest where he won't even get into the slug matches, but he's keeping you away, but being very precise, is boring to someone who doesn't really like boxing. And if you're going to be box office, Floyd's probably a bad example of this. He became box office because of his mouth. But as far as the gameplay itself, they wanted to make it more open for anyone. And nowadays, the last point I'll make here is that the players today, you hear people saying, well, the players today are better than the players back in the day. Not necessarily, because basketball is a zero-sum game. There's one winner for every loser. So what are you better at? They say, well, players now can dribble, they can shoot, they can pass, they can do these things. But that's the thing that they're asked to do now. Back in the day, Charles Oakley was asked to set hard screens, throw people around in the paint, and grab rebounds. Those were his roles, and he played his role. Nowadays, a Charles Oakley can shoot threes, and he can dribble and do all these different things. But the end game is still the end game, and the defense is not as emphasized. Now it's more emphasis on offense. And because there's more emphasis on offense, more players can do stuff. It's a more exciting game. And now you can bring your wife, who may not even like basketball, to the game and she can understand it because it's free flowing. But that defensive game, you had to be a technician of understanding to appreciate it.
You moved me to a secondary point that I wasn't anticipating, but great setup here. Dre, what I think, like me, you, and Skap, and the typical sports fan, what we love is competition, and we love to see people compete. And we have to understand, not everybody loves competition, and women don't like competition nearly as much as men. And then there's a whole segment of men that really don't like competition. And if you look at the American culture and how we have de-emphasized merit and competition, and we just want to assign things to certain people, certain groups, and have the outcomes all come out equal. Well, as men, most normal men, like, no, we don't want equal outcomes. We want to earn what is ours, and we want to go prove that we're better than someone else. And so I just think the NBA has followed the flow of American culture. Everything has been feminized, and we're trying to open up everything to women who don't like competition near as much, and they don't want to see someone slammed. Oh, he might get hurt. Whereas, you know, I used to, yeah, you guys are too young, but we had an Evel Knievel, and we used to watch all of his events like, oh, he may get hurt. And that was the reason to watch it. He'd be using his motorcycle to jump over cars, and they used to be on TV. You could never have that now because we've so prioritized safety. Let me make does anybody want to react to that? Because I got a strictly basketball point related to LeBron on this conversation. Let me make the LeBron point. I think as I'm listening to both of you talk and as I'm watching OKC, this free-flowing style of play and the emphasis on a different kind of defense, it's a different kind of defense. You can't be an old man and excel in this style of play. You're young guys that can play both ends of the court at that level are always going to have an advantage. You can't, hey, you know what? We're going to play a half-court game as the Lakers with LeBron and slow things down and throw it to him in the post and blah, blah, blah. There's only one style that wins in this with it's 3-pointers, it's constant mode, it's getting the ball up and down the court as fast as you can. And so it really, this iteration of the NBA makes the 41-year-old, he can pad his stats all that he wants. But when it comes to winning and losing, this style of play does not serve a 41-year-old LeBron James, or even really, and I know Luka led the Mavericks to the NBA Finals, but Luka can't play both ends of the court. It doesn't really serve him either, Skap.
Yeah, look, I said it about 3 years ago when it looked like the Nuggets were building towards something with Jokic. They were building the team all wrong, because what you need, the pieces you need to win and compete at this level in this NBA and win titles, you need long, rangy, athletic, interchangeable, defensively minded players. Look at the teams that are built that way. The Pistons, the Spurs, the Thunder, the Timberwolves, like the teams that are still playing right now. The teams that expose the Nuggets during the playoffs every year in and year out. Like, those are the pieces you need to be able to compete. The irony of it is what Dre said is right. Like, in terms of great defense always beats great offense, but we need to take the shackles off the defense to let the offensive product shine through, in essence. But now it's the defensive teams that are going back to succeeding in these playoffs, obviously. And the defensive element of basketball is actually coming out in this postseason like I haven't seen in a few years. We do have to give some credit to the players that are making these runs right now. Jason, league-wide scoring averages has taken about a 10-point per game dip from regular season to playoffs right now, which is the most substantial dip since like the 1970s from a regular season into the postseason. It was around 116 in the regular season, which was the highest in league history other than the 1960s, a few years in the 60s. Now into the playoffs, we're teetering on breaking into the 105 range right now. So these teams get it. They understand it. They're deploying the personnel that they have, which are these long, rangy, interchangeable athletes from like 1 through 8 or 9. And you're right, these isolationist guys that like want to methodically run the offense through them and limit possessions, like, that's not the way to succeed in 2026.
And it's the simplicity of basketball. If you really break it down, it's putting that ball into a basket 10 feet above the ground that's not that much wider than the circumference of the ball. It is easier when you get the best athletes in the world. It is easier to stop someone from doing that than it is to do it when someone who's super athletic is trying to stop you. So when you have a great defense, you will eventually score enough points to win if the other team's not scoring at all. If you look at the highlights from the 2008 NBA Finals, the Celtics against the Lakers, Kobe Bryant, the type of shots that man was making, their entire defense was geared around stopping him. He had to make some incredibly tough shots to score the points he was scoring because there was no one else who could do it around Boston's defense. The defense was just too good. Kobe was clearly better than everybody they had, but the defense was just too good. Oklahoma City has great defense and enough offense that they end up winning anyway. Their offense is not pretty. They just have enough good players. And again, they're already missing Jalen Williams. If the Lakers had Luka and they were at full strength right now, it would be a more interesting series. But I don't think the Lakers would win because offense does not beat defense in these playoffs. Look at what happened with Jokic when Minnesota got to key on him and really focus on him. He couldn't do Jokic things because there's too much focus on him. The good thing about someone like Wemby in San Antonio is his biggest impact is not on offense, it's on defense. And that's the reason why he is a threat to dominate this league for years to come, because defense is where he starts.
Cap, you got to follow up, or I'm going to change topics.
Yeah, I mean, just real quick, I agree with him, obviously. Shea is another one where he's not as elite or as celebrated on that side. Same with Anthony Edwards, but those are guys that can fit into the context of what those teams are building and working towards on the defensive side. So offensive guys that can be offensive when needed, but that they can also play two ways.
All right. Amazing conversation. I want to continue a basketball conversation that I think is going to be important starting this weekend. The WNBA kicks off, I believe, tonight. It really kicks off tomorrow afternoon when Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, 12 noon Central Time, they take on the Dallas Wings. Not that I have following this, and not that I haven't built my schedule around 12 noon tomorrow, my whole weekend, just beside my family coming here. But anyway, this is going to be interesting, gentlemen, because they're going to try to move Caitlin Clark off the ball. That's the whole conversation. We're taking Caitlin Clark off the ball. The Ringer just wrote a very good piece about the WNBA season and making 13 things to watch or look for, or predictions. And one of them had to do with their suggestion that the Indiana Fever's moving Caitlin Clark off the ball is going to be highly successful. I'm not so sure, and I don't believe that, because what they're really saying is, like, off the ball, they're going to take the ball out of her hands. And they've drafted this rookie, Raven Johnson, who will come off the bench and probably play 25 minutes a night, if not more. And they plan on putting the ball in her hands more than Caitlin Clark's. Caitlin seems to be on board with this, and I get why. Because one, they've been brainwashing her and telling her that she needs to get the ball out of her hands. It'll help her offensively. And because some of this I blame on Caitlin Clark. She has not been the smartest point guard in her 2 years in the WNBA. That if she played more efficiently with the ball in her hands and wasn't a turnover machine, because she loves to take risks and she hasn't figured out, like, the risks that you could take in college basketball. The players here, while not, they're just more skilled here in the WNBA, and you're getting picked up 94 feet because these women hate you. And so it requires a more efficient style of play than I think she's used to. But this whole deal of convincing her that if someone else handles the ball, when she has handled the ball from junior high to high school to college to her first 2 years in the WNBA, I just think they've put the wrong kind of team around Caitlin Clark. I think Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark are kind of a bad fit, although it works from time to time. But Kelsey Mitchell likes to have the ball in her hand and go one-on-one and get a bucket. Anyway, I just think this is a potential disaster. I don't think Indiana's intentions are as malicious as some people think. I just don't think they weren't willing to do what was necessary. Put a team around Caitlin Clark that wasn't jealous of her and wanted to support her, and really, they need to do what they did at Iowa. They haven't been willing to do that. Dre, this morning I asked you about this, and I thought you had a pretty thoughtful response. I asked Skap as well. Anyway, Dre, I'm going to let you start here. Do you think this experiment with moving Caitlin Clark off the ball or taking the ball out of her hands, is it going to work?
Well, whether it works or not depends on the team that the Fever put around her. So it depends on the competence of their decision makers. But overall, if the goal, Jason, is for Caitlin Clark to win championships, this absolutely has to happen. The archetype for this is Allen Iverson, 2001 Philadelphia 76ers. He had the ball in his hands all the time, his whole entire career coming into that point, scored a bunch of points, made himself into a star, but the team couldn't win with him dominating the ball because he was a score-first guy who kept the ball. And as we just talked about, no matter how good you are, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, whoever, if you're that good on offense, another team, when they have time to game plan around you, can beat you. Look at James Harden. He's a guy who didn't make the adjustment. The team can game plan around you scoring all the points and dominating the ball. Eventually, you have to give up the ball. And this is something that Kobe's a guy I mentioned. He talked about that he had to learn how to attack the defense from the sides instead of just from the front, because in the front, the entire defense can get ready for you, and you cannot beat another pro basketball team as a great scorer just doing that the entire game. Look what the Sixers did. They went and got a whole bunch of selfless guys, Matt Geiger, George Lynch, Eric Snow, Aaron McKee, who did not care about getting any attention or any headlines. Everything is based around this guy, but we're going to let him attack from the sides, not from the front, because he can't beat the whole NBA from the front, but he can attack from the sides, get great defenders to make up for his gambling, and we can go as far as we can go. Unfortunately, it ran into a buzzsaw with the LA Lakers. Speaking of the Lakers, Phil Jackson had that triangle offense. This is what saved Michael Jordan. You can't beat the whole NBA just being the superstar. As great as Jordan was, they put in the triangle, released some of the pressure. Now Jordan can still dominate, but the team is involved more, and you can't beat them while everybody has access. When Shaq left the Lakers, Kobe had about, 3 years of having his fun. Go score your 35, 40 points every game. Go get your 81. But the Lakers were going nowhere with that offense. The defenses were too good. Kobe couldn't do it. Phil Jackson comes back. Triangle offense. Now Kobe can attack from different angles. You can't just game plan around Kobe. They go to the finals 3 years straight. This is what Caitlin Clark needs. The challenge with Caitlin Clark, she didn't go to a major D1 program. She went to a school that was going to build everything around her. Had she gone to UConn, she would have had to be off the ball because there are enough good players on that team that you can't dominate, and you ain't that good compared to the rest of these girls to where you must dominate. But she hasn't had that yet. Now in the WNBA, she eventually, if the goal is winning, she has to come off the ball because she is not physically built. She's not an apex predator. She's not LeBron physically in a woman's side. She's not that. She's going to get beat up. She has the ball all the time. They're guarding her 94 feet because she's not going to pass the damn ball. And when she does, she just stands there. She's James Harden. When she doesn't have the ball, she just stands there. She has to get off the ball and learn how to move how Allen Iverson did, side to side, catch it and attack before the rest of the defense can key on her. If she doesn't do that, she'll put up her stats, but they're not going to win.
Scap?
Yeah, while Dre makes a lot of good points, I think that the things that are going to be most impactful and telling and that we simply don't know yet are twofold. Like, what is the system that they put in around her? What are they running? And then what is the personnel that they add around her? Like, those are the two things that will be most profound in really deciphering of whether or not this is going to be successful or not. But I agree with Dre, just from a fundamental basketball philosophy, 100%. The things he's saying is making sense and are true. Like, Jason, you remember what was the word on Michael Jordan in the 80s? Tremendous individual player, maybe the best physical specimen, like the best athlete, maybe individually the best basketball player. Can't win, right? Because Magic and Larry were running that era. But really what Magic needed was a coach and a personnel and a philosophy put in around him that allowed him to showcase and really maximize on his strengths while corralling them to some degree, right? Like trying to find a way like to also dominate, but to help teammates dominate. That looks different though from player to player. Like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, taking them off the ball wasn't necessarily removing the ball from their hands, right? Like it was just giving them the ability to uplift their teammates, but they were still heavy usage type players, right? Like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, like they're top 4 all time in NBA history in usage rate. So like, I don't think, and like same with Allen Iverson, like he's a ball dominant, like isolationist type player. When I look at Caitlin Clark, whether she's playing like that yet right now, or whether she can moving on into the future, I would comp her most closely with Steph Curry. Like Steph Curry, while I think you guys, like you see the highlights of Curry dancing and shimmying and shooting threes, that's not when they're most successful though. That's not what I think of at the peak of the Golden State dynasty. I think of his movement without the ball. I think of him shooting from like catch and shot at moments. I think of the impact, the profound impact that he had on the game and on uplifting his teammates without even holding a basketball in his hands because of the gravity that he provided all of them. I think that could be the way that Caitlin Clark grows and evolves as a player moving forward in the WNBA. But again, chicken and egg. Did Steph Curry become that way? Was it the system that Kerr put in though? Was it the personnel that he had surrounding him? So like those things have to be in lockstep as well for Caitlin Clark. She has to have the right system, the right like philosophy, and the right players around her to make it all come to fruition.
I think both of you have made outstanding points. The other wrinkle in this, and this, I hope this isn't too much for you all, but men and their mentality and what they're willing to do to win and the sacrifices they're willing to make to win, I think is different than women. And so putting that, Dre says, hey, put the Allen Iverson type team around Caitlin Clark. That's not what the Indiana Fever have done. Kelsey Mitchell, players they had last year. I just don't think they've put enough people around Caitlin Clark. Kelsey Mitchell wants to be a star, sees herself as one of the 2 or 3 best players in the WNBA. Aaliyah Boston's got the best contract in the WNBA, sees herself as a star. I think Aaliyah Boston really likes Caitlin Clark and actually plays best. She's the one that benefits the most when the ball is actually in Caitlin Clark's hand. Caitlin gets her a lot of easy buckets. I think they're going to take that away. I think I'm going to be sympathetic to Stephanie White and the Fever organization because I'm just telling you, Caitlin, as a point guard the first 2 years, and particularly last year, and she only played a little bit last year, but she's never really demonstrated the ability. I watched them in a preseason game this year, and it was like they went the first 4 minutes of the game, and Caitlin had the ball, and she was the point guard, and Kelsey Mitchell never got a shot, barely touched the basketball. And I'm like, Caitlin Clark doesn't realize, like, Isaiah Thomas would be out there with the Pistons and know, like, hey, man, I got to get Joe Dumars a shot, because I got to get him warmed up and into the game. And Caitlin Clark just gets lost in her own world. I hit my first 2 shots in her mind, and that means I'm going to take 3 more to figure out if I'm in a hot streak and whether I'm about to have this incredible night. She's not thinking about her other team because she's never had to. And it's not because she's a terrible person. It's like the only way she won in high school and the only way she won in college was with her shooting the ball. I don't think women, and particularly this group of WNBA, race-based, lesbian-based league, I just don't think they put the right people around her, and I'm not sure if the right people are even available to be had. Dre, you got a reaction to that?
Caitlin Clark's not a point guard. She's a lead guard. That's what we call that, the lead guard. They will dominate the ball, but they're not thinking about, hey, this player hasn't touched the ball in a while. Let me get them the ball. Caitlin Clark generally she plays for Caitlin Clark. I remember when Jason Kidd, he was coaching the Milwaukee Bucks for a moment. When he first came in, a coach had gotten fired. He took their place, and they're watching game film. And Jason Kidd paused the game film, and the whole team's in the room. He said, who's our best player? And he goes around the room and asks everybody, who's our best player? And Chris Middleton said, me. And then he goes to Giannis, and Giannis says, me. You can't have that on a team that's going to win. Everybody needs to know who Michael Jordan is. Everybody has to know Kobe is Kobe. And I don't think on the Indiana Fever, everybody would say Caitlin Clark's the best player. And they don't get that fixed. When Allen Iverson was on the Sixers, everybody knew it was Allen Iverson. I think what the Indiana Fever need, yes, they need the personnel changes. I think they need a male coach. They need a male head coach who can put the whole team in the room and say, hey, who's our best player? Or she's the best player. Or give her the damn ball. And this is how we're going to do it. This is what's going to work. Here's your role. Here's your role. Here's your role. Last thing I'll say, LeBron James, when he left Miami, came back to Cleveland. They were in training camp that year. He stopped practice and said, Coach, can I take the team in the locker room? Coach said, sure. He takes the team back in the locker room, and he goes through everybody in there and says, here's your role, here's your role, here's your role. He told everybody what their role was. Kyrie, Kevin Love, everybody. And next 4 years, they went to the finals. But people had to be willing to fall in line, and they have to respect the word of whoever is making that call. And right now, I don't think anybody's making a call in Indiana.
Boom, you crushed it. Scap.
Yeah, and some of it is incumbent on the personnel, like he said. Like the Michael Jordan team doesn't work if Scottie Pippen wants to shoot 20 times a game and score 30 points per game and try to be like Michael Jordan. It doesn't work. Like with Kobe Bryant, like if Lamar Odom wanted to come in and score, shoot 20 times a game in that like 2008 through 10 run, it doesn't work. So it is incumbent on the personnel to be, I guess, intelligent enough to identify, to self-assess themselves. But also, in lieu of that, if that is not the case, then it is incumbent on the star to, like Dre said, to take, like LeBron James did, to take them in, like Kobe Bryant would do in practices, like Michael Jordan would do. Break those players down.
White heterosexual woman from Iowa. Can she give that speech in the WNBA?
No.
I don't think so.
Absolutely not.
Which is a problem. Which to his point, that's why I guess you do need some domineering coach figure to do it for her, because those players, all the guys, the alpha males, if you will, that we spoke about, they would do it. Like if the coaches wouldn't do it, if the players weren't falling in line, they would make sure that they knew their role and that they would fall in line.
It takes a certain level of testosterone, and some women have it, but Caitlin Clark does not have that much testosterone.
Can a white 50-year-old lesbian coach, can she do it?
No. That's not going to happen. They need a man to come in there and tell everybody, here's what we're doing. Here's the star. Here's the number 2 person. Here's the number 3 person. Here's your role. Here's your role. Here's your role. And anyone who does not accept their role, we're going to get you out of here. And that will work. And everyone has to accept their role and play their role. But someone has to come in and lay down the law. Right now, Caitlin Clark, the reason this is not working is Caitlin Clark is the most talented player. She is the most gifted player, but she does not have the alpha in her or the testosterone in her to put anyone in that locker room in line. She doesn't seem like that type of personality. So someone will have to come in and do it for her, or she'll have to grow into it, or they have to put somebody next to her in the locker room who will do it on her behalf. And what was the woman who was on the team her rookie year who they got rid of? The little guard who will come in and
Erica Wheeler. Loved her. Yeah.
See, they need more. They need somebody like her. Like the Sixers had Allen Iverson. If somebody hit him too hard, you had Mutombo, you had George Lynch, you had Aaron McKee, you had Eric Snow. Those guys would put it on the line. Matt Geiger, they would put it on the line to defend their guy. Who in that locker room is going to defend her if Angel Reese elbows her in the head in the game this season? Who is that?
No, it's not there. And it's not there from an organization. I've said from the outset, Mark Jackson should be the head coach of the Indiana Fever. If you want the Steph Curry effect, if you want someone that's willing to say, hey, we're doing it this way. And so I'm telling the way the WNBA is constructed, from the commissioner on down, they're not going to have a Gino Auriemma in the WNBA. The best team, Becky Hammond, the league is about her. The league is about Cheryl Reeve. The Sandy Barndello that they fired in New York. They want women leaders, and they're not going to allow some male coach to come in and dominate that league. And that's what a Mark Jackson would do. It's a league that's always on message. And so I'm telling you, we could be sitting here at the end of the year and just be like, and it wouldn't be surprising to us, like, this league just doesn't work for Caitlin Clark. It's constructed in a way, and it has an agenda in a way that figuring out and helping Caitlin Clark figure out how to play and how to win at this level, this league's not built for that.
And that's disappointing. And they need to get the right pieces around, because if the WNBA wants to shed the label of people like us who have been, people like myself especially, who have been criticizing it and saying they didn't earn this money. They're giving these players a raise and the product hasn't even improved. The players haven't gotten any better, but they're getting raises. If they want to actually live up to the money that they are commanding and getting the attention that they're getting, then they need to lean into her, because she's a star. She's brought millions of fans with her. If she leaves, those fans are going with her. If she's not performing, those fans are going to go with her. So they need to protect her. And on a league level, they also need to protect her on a team level. If you came at Magic, Kurt Rambis was going to get you. You came at Patrick Ewing, Charles Oakley got you. Came at Dwayne Wade, Udonis Haslam got you. Who has Caitlin Clark's back in the WNBA, the entire league? I don't think anybody.
The Indiana Fever don't. And I think we're already seeing the impact of this, because this is the other question, Skap. I'm going to ask you this and we'll wrap this up. The Indiana Fever fans, this is the other complicating factor. They go to see Caitlin Clark play. They want to see the ball in Caitlin Clark's hands. And, I mean, this is a big, complicated equation that you got a fan base in a league that's uncomfortable showcasing Caitlin Clark, but you got a fan base that wants Caitlin Clark showcased, including Indiana Fever fans they haven't even sold out this home opener yet, which is amazing. And it's because the fans know, well, they're taking the ball out of Caitlin Clark's hands, and when I go to the game, I want to see Caitlin Clark with the ball in her hands. That's what they're entertained by, and we're actually anyway. Skap, I'll give you the final thought, and then I'm gonna move on.
Yeah, let me just say this, Jason. The thing that they would be most entertained by, I would hope, would be winning. And again, I go back. All-time NBA, like LeBron, Dwayne Wade, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Allen Iverson, they're all top 10 in usage all time. Steph Curry, 25th in league history in usage. The fact that he doesn't necessarily have his ball, the ball in his hands the whole time, doesn't mean that it's not revolving around him. Caitlin Clark might sacrifice some time with the ball, but The way they have to view her and the way the system should view her is she's essentially like a sun with the planets rotating around her and everything working off of her. So even if she's not dribbling the hell out of the ball, she's still going to be the primary driver and influencer of the game and everything that happens on the court for all of its other players. And ultimately, if they're winning, that will be more entertaining than anything at all. So I would hope that the fan base would get behind that. Again, though, it's going to be incumbent on the personnel to fit and work around her to help her win. Because let me just add this one last dynamic.
Please.
Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, intrinsically connected from basically the collegiate years all the way now through for their whole careers, Jason. Now Angel Reese gets a trade. She looks like she's maybe championship caliber ready roster. If Caitlin Clark is struggling in this new dynamic and with the new personnel they put around her, what kind of commentary then does that create for the casual WNBA fan in the league? Oh, look at Angel Reese is actually the winner, is actually more valuable than Caitlin Clark. Like, is that maybe where they want to be pushing their agenda and their narratives?
Angel Reese going to be throwing up a lot of bricks, so regardless of what Atlanta does, she's not going to get full credit. Scap, I can't believe you went this entire segment without ever mentioning my hair, my kente cloth. You had nothing to say on that?
Well, I was hoping. I watched your open, and then you said that you're going to keep the outfit on.
Yeah.
I was relieved because I was like, oh man, I hope that Jason doesn't take that off. Much like with your little cowboy hat the other day, I thought your Django outfit. I mean, maybe there should just be, Jason, like Hawaii shirt Fridays. You could have costume Fridays. Like every Friday could be a different theme or outfit for you moving forward. I like this.
All right. Well, we'll keep it up as best we can. All right, Coach JB, just around the corner. I'm going to take a short break before I bring JB in. You know, JB's going to be a headache for me. So I just need a few seconds to catch my breath and prepare. All right, Coach JB is going to close out our Friday. Next. This blew my mind. Cam, you should have called Jason. Jason. Even though the D is silent. Peggy. You should have called me. No way. Y'all should have let Stephen A. Smith show up at Cam's home, Cam's studio, anywhere near Cam in Atlanta, and allow this 58-year-old delusional punk.
I dare you. Let's talk issues.
Talk to you the way he talked to you guys. And watch this when I play this clip. And Cam, it pains me to do this. You know I like you. I came on your show. I treated you with respect. We had our disagreements, but I did not treat you like you were beneath me.
All right? What I'm saying to you is, with that being said,
that you were some boy that I was punking. Stephen A. did that. And you said, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I was like, holy cow, play the clip.
I am in no way saying you shouldn't have spoken to Whitlock. I don't care if anybody can talk to Whitlock all they want to. All I'm saying is that if you're gonna bring up my name, ask those questions. Yes, sir. That's it. Yes, sir. Nothing else.
Yes, sir.
Y'all caught that, right? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Toby B.
Good nigga for massa. Good nigga.
Maybe you think that's great advice from Stephen A. But Stephen A. does not tell any grown man who he can talk to, who he can't talk to, and you just sit there and nod your head, yes, sir, yes, sir.
But what do I know?
Not much. JB doesn't know much, but we tolerate him here on Fridays. JB, welcome back to the show. Is there any place you want to start, anywhere you want to start? JB, can you hear me?
Sean King would like to say from the white delegation, that are you feeling crispy today? Because he apparently cooked you yesterday, and
Sean
Steve Kim,
right,
Steve Kim from the Asian delegation. Steve Kim said, "Are you tired of having me on yet? Because you absolutely get obliterated by me on your show 3 weeks in a row." So I'm just asking. I'm humble. I don't think I cook you at all.
What I will say is Sean King had his best performance ever on the show, but that's not a high bar, is what I would say.
Right.
You know,
Right.
that's not a high bar.
I agree with you on that.
That's not a very
I just
high
had him.
bar.
He just left my show 2 minutes ago, so I agree with you.
Yeah. Not a high bar. As it relates to me and you, JB, since, you know, you're doing the cooking around here, is there any ingredients you want to start with? We got Dianna Russini and Mike Vrabel in the Love Boat. Do you think Vrabel's going to survive the Love Boat?
You know, I don't like white moms, right? And I have one. And my white mom came forward and did you see the white mom kick the kid on the youth football game?
I think I did see that.
Yeah, again, white mom. Again, another white mom scenario. But anyway, my mom brought up something very interesting, and I didn't think about it. She was like, son, do you think your dad would ever allow me to be away from him or not know where he was while his baby was inside of me at 7 months pregnant? And I said, what are you going with this? And I was like, interesting. Do you really think I'd be able to meet a man on a boat 7 months pregnant that's not my husband or baby dad? Like, think about that. So it's got to be Vrabel's kid, number one. Number two, is Vrabel really an alpha male that we think he is, going to just hang out with a 7 month pregnant girl on GP just to hang out and say, you're my friend? Stop, Jason, stop. And all the simps out there in your chat or whoever else's chat, no man wants to hang out with a woman and talk football. No man wants to hang out with a woman just for, like, you know, laughs and gigs. No man wants to go hang out. I want to go with Sean and smoke a cigar. My moral of the story is, Jason, we're sexual beings. We're hunters. They're the hunted. We want to go have intercourse and move on and go smoke a cigar with Sean King or talk with Jason Whitlock. Not hang out unless there's an invested interest here called the baby. So we got to get to brass tacks and think about this being a more macro discussion, because at this point, 2021, that video there's a video every single day. Like I told you 3 weeks ago, I told you I'm making him my thumbnail every day. He's been my thumbnail all week. This is going to continue. And this guy is playing macro level chess while everyone else is playing checkers. I don't even know if they're really married. I don't think she's married to the guy. I think this guy, something else going on here.
I get what you're saying, and I get where you're going. Let me unpack it for the audience in case you missed it. You're basically, that's got to be Vrabel's baby, because no man is going to hang out with a 7-8 month pregnant woman unless she's carrying his baby. Again, when Vrabel is walking towards her or behind her or whatever,
that picture right there,
she turns around and she's pregnant. Again, just think for yourself as a man, if that's not your baby. It's like, I'm doing a little secret rendezvous with a woman who's carrying another man's baby. And
we don't do that. That's a simp.
Yeah.
We don't do that.
And so I get it. And I think TMZ has come out with the story that she named the baby after her brother.
Of course. Listen,
I'm not.
You don't have a kid, huh, Jason?
No.
So I got a daughter, and she's 28 now.
Yeah.
That woman right there turned around about face to talk to her baby daddy. That is a turn around, see baby daddy. That is not turn around. Oh, Mike. She has one arm full, Jason, one arm down, on the verge of going in the water. She is fully comfortable and understand that her protector is right there in arm's reach. That is a baby mama turning to baby daddy move right there. Go look at the turnabout face that she made. That is full comfortable. I'm in relation with my baby's father, and he's walking as, I got to do this. I'm the father. I got to show up here. That's the walk of a baby daddy. I'm telling you as one.
All right. Is that the walk of a guy that can continue to be the head coach of the New England Patriots?
This is the $1 million question that the debate continues. I'm on the side of, as a former head coach, I had this argument today with Smitty and Sean. JB, he ain't going nowhere. Kraft did more than this and blah, blah, blah. Kraft's a billionaire. not a millionaire. Number one, he is on the top of the Eiffel Tower looking at everybody else. Vrabel is the head coach on the sideline who has to take all bullets every day. There's a huge difference in these two guys. Let's just be clear. Number one. Number two, Smitty and them said, well, he can't, he's got to get home. He's got to be in the office. He's more protected. Nothing more untrue than that. It was the worst time ever when I was allegedly calling the kid the Hitler, and I had 8 felonies accused of, charged, all this stuff. It was the worst time to be in the office because CNN at the door, Fox Sports at the door, ESPN, my president of the college. These guys want to talk to you. How do you coach, Jason, when that is going on at the office every day? TMZ, it's filming me. How do you coach men that you have all these things around the office saying character, integrity, blah, blah, blah? How do you do that? No, you're actually better off at home where you don't have to answer the door and don't have to lead men into battle and practice every day and say, let's go, Drake May. We got to get over the hump this week. This is, I know our schedule's 3 times harder than it was last year, but it's all right. I'm going to let this roll right off my back. No, I don't see it. Because at the end of the day, Jason, are you protecting your wife at home? Do you know that's over? You've been married since 99. Or are you trying to be, all right, screw it. Let's play. I'm coach. Let's go. Let's do this. There's too many other variables. I got 2 kids that are grown. If this 3rd kid is mine, now I do have a child support issue, Jason, because see, we haven't even talked about Dianna Russini yet, not coming out and talking yet. When she comes out, best believe she is dropping bombs to protect herself because she'll never work again unless she comes out and protects herself and totally destroys Vrabel. Well, so if I'm his agent, and I'm just talking from an agent standpoint because I talked to my lawyer and agent that I have something going on with Netflix and all this other stuff right now. So I said, hey, man, what would you do here? Advising him. He said, I'd tell him to resign right now. Because if he doesn't, he'll never coach again. Because he made a great point, Jason. Resign now, walk away. Year or 2 years go by, who cares? Get back into coaching. You stay coaching and you end up having to resign during the season or get fired because this is such a big story. You'll never coach again in football in the history of your life. Never coach. And he makes a great point. And I know what he's saying because I should have did what he told me then. And I said, I'm going to fight it. I'm going to fight it. And it cost me my job, even though I was innocent. It cost me my job because at the end of the day, Jason, cancel culture vultures. If you look at the entities that are protecting and serving the New England Patriots organization, Gillette, all these billion-dollar companies, I went through them on my show. If you go through, look at them, there's philanthropists donating. There's racist and gender equity billion-dollar companies donating. When they start to pull that money, Vrabel's getting fired, Jason. And that might be week 8, week 7, week 9, week 2. We don't know. But Robert Kraft's a billionaire for a reason. He's not losing a bunch of investors because of Mike Vrabel's noise. We saw Tiger Woods, what happened when he cheated. He didn't break no law. Who took all their money? Nike. The insurance company of his took insurance or whatever. All these companies. They're going to pull money eventually because we're in a cancel culture vulture era. I think I would resign if I'm Mike Vrabel.
As it relates to advertisers and sponsors, I'm not so sure. And you got to remember, content over everything that you talk about, we talk about all the time. That's where the NFL is moving. That's where everybody's moving. And what they're doing, JB, is removing morality from sports and from American culture. It's no different. I was talking about how they've been de-emphasizing competition and merit. There's going to be a de-emphasis, and there already is a de-emphasis of morality. That's why, if you're a former athlete with some sort of criminal rap sheet, you're seen as more authentic, more marketable, more let's get in bed with. I just saw it's like Asante Samuel, and I'm starting to see people run out and defend Vrabel. Asante Samuel, Torrey Smith. They're playing the Donald Trump card. They're playing, go on Twitter, and these guys are playing the Trump card of, hey, why are they treating Vrabel like he's Donald Trump? Or why is he being attacked more than Donald Trump? And it's like Asante Samuel's, again, I really thought of content over everything. I don't know if you saw the tweets where he's basically telling stories about, hey, when my wife caught me with my side chick, and, guy's got 90-some-odd thousand Twitter followers, but that tweet about talking about his wife and his side chick, it's got 1 million, 2 million views on it. Content over everything.
COE. That's COE.
That is just like, I'll talk about it, I'll expose anything, I'll defend anything, everything. So I'm not, there are people trying to turn Vrabel into a victim, and they're doing the what about Donald Trump deal. Yeah, there's Asante Samuels. That's got more than 1 million, maybe 2 million views on it. It's up to 2.8 million views on it. And the guy's got 95,000, I think, Twitter followers. That's where we're at, JB, and Vrabel may be able to survive this. And maybe he just needs to get a divorce, be the single coach, and do what Belichick is doing. Get you a young girlfriend and keep it moving.
I don't know, man. It just seems like it's way deeper than what we know. And I don't know if a Sharon Moore scenario where everyone's involved and understands it and knows it and are cool with it. That could very well be the scenario as well. I knew that to be the truth about Sharon. Obviously, I told you on your show. You told me I didn't know what I was talking about. And then this scenario it could be another one of those. Who knows? She had her wedding ring on in the airport just a week ago. Like, maybe she's cool with it. Maybe she's okay with her. Listen, if you're his wife, right, and you obviously, you're not dumb. Women have intuition like no other. We know this. She already knew what was going on, or she was okay with it because her kids are grown, Jason. They're not babies. So the embarrassment level has weakened a little because their kids are grown. One kid's coaching at Boston College with Bill O'Brien, Vrabel's boy. Supposed to come over to coach with the Patriots this year with his dad, Vrabel. The other, I think the daughter's out of college or whatever, or the other son, I forgot what he has, but grown. So that disrespect level is probably less than it would be if they were babies and they were disrespect them in the public eye. So the wife could just be like, you know what, I'm cool with just the money. We've been married since 99, and I'm never getting married. I don't even think I'm going to ever come close. I think she's at the point where, you know what, we had to run 27 years together. I'm cool with it. Like, they could very well be thinking that way. And she just keeps the money, and you can't do nothing to me now, or you're going to pay me some big money to leave. So she might just be like, I'm playing chess. And I do believe the husband's playing chess. I think the husband's the one playing chess this whole time. Russini's husband, I think he's the one that's going to be the 30 for 30 coming out.
I think there's a possibility Vrabel's being financially squeezed by his wife and Dianna Russini, because Dianna Russini's credibility is, about an OnlyFans level. That's about what she's qualified to do. And so she could potentially threaten Vrabel into cutting her a check, $5-10 million, who knows. The wife is, I don't know how much he made as a player. How long has Vrabel been a head coach? 5-6 years? What was his run in Tennessee? Was it 5 years and he just had a 6th season? I'm trying to do the math. If he's averaging $5 million a year and he's been a head coach for 6 years, let's say, that's $30 million.
He made more than that.
Excuse me?
Way more than that. He makes way more than that.
6 seasons with the Titans, and Peyton, what'd you say?
6 seasons with the Titans, 1 with the Patriots.
Yeah, 7 seasons as an NFL coach. On average, JB, you think he's made more than $5-6 million a year if you average up those whole 7 years? Maybe last year he got paid $8 million in New England, but what was he making in Tennessee? Let's say it's $6 million a year times 7.
The
Oh, 12 to 15 million a year.
Yeah.
And okay. So
Oh, Jason, he makes way more than college coaches. He's way over 5 million.
yeah, he 12 to 15 in New England. And, let's say what did we say, 6 years with Tennessee? 6 years, let's say he made 40 million with Tennessee.
Oh, he's $100 million man right now. He's near 100. He's near 100 million with endorsements and other things. He's
and his playing career, he probably made decent money as a player.
He's upper now. We're near 100 million. Liquidity, I don't know, but at the end of the day, he's also got a billionaire backing him. If he really wants to make this go away, he'll probably get help from Kraft on paying off some of this hush money. So he's got $1 billion man backing him too. So, and this is the Patriot way. If Sean King is right, and this is the way that Kraft wants to play it because of what his backstory is and history lessons are, plus with Belichick's scenario and Brady and all the gates, and you had Aaron Hernandez there, and you didn't even cut him. So, this is a Patriot way. So, at the end of the day, if that's true and they play it out, cool. I just think at the end of the day, these sponsors are going to start playing this I'm better than you scenario where you got a guy that's immoral and, he's disrespecting women. And once this whole thing, gender equity, all this stuff starts to get into play, one of these big sponsors, I don't think you can continue to coach, man. The smoke is too tough on the lungs. It's going to get too big around. If it becomes more than coaching, way bigger than the New England Patriots organization, this is where I fight back with King and everybody else. Robert Kraft is not playing that game. You're not about to be bigger than Robert Kraft and the Patriots. And when you are, you got to go. That's why Belichick had to go. That's why Brady had to go. They were bigger than Robert Kraft and the Patriots way. So if you become bigger than Robert Kraft, and this story is now becoming bigger, right now it's right there. During the season, you don't think there's more video and pictures going to be released, Jason? This is going to be a year-round nonstop story. It's the biggest talk ever. We're like, what's going on in Iran? Does anybody know? Nobody knows, because this is the biggest story in the world. And it's going on, what, 5 weeks? What week are we on? Nobody even cares that gas is $9 in LA right now. Oh, Vrabel. It's ridiculous, man. I don't see how you can literally coach with that stress every day knowing. Because, listen, you can tell Smitty and everybody talk, oh, he's fine. There's no way. They haven't been a head coach. There's no way you can sit up there and be comfortable on the football field, Jason, and really coach the way you want to coach. And all this is going on. Every day I leave the field, there's a new video and picture showing of me. And I got to go talk to these kids every day and players every day, these grown men every day. I don't see it, Jason. I truly believe what my agent had to say. Resign right now and save face. Come back in 2 years and be clean again. Because you did nothing illegal. So legally, you can't be barred from coaching. But you can be blackballed in this business.
I think he's afraid of sitting out for 2 years. He might be willing to sit for one.
He just sat one.
I know. He might be good to sit one. You sit two, and, the game changes very quickly. Not that it could, but I think 2 years, I think it would be the right move to sit out for 2 years. I really do. I think it would be the absolute right move. I think he could clean up his personal life. Either him and his wife settle in and refix their marriage. Him and Russini settle in and do that.
Because Mike McCarthy just came back, Jason. Mike McCarthy just came back. Like this guy is still young. He's my age. He's 50, just turned. Or not, he's not even 50. I think he's 49. He is fine. He can coach till he's 70 if he's in the right scenario and gets a run and goes to Super Bowls like Belichick and gets on a run again and gets in the right organization again. He can do something like this. And don't be surprised if he's not. This is what I can see happening. Seriously. Leaves for 2 years. Andy Reid retires, takes the Chiefs organization over, because that makes the most sense to me. I think that's the organization that will still be in place for a guy like him to come put it all together again. And it's a fix for both organization and coach.
I don't think
Andy
the
Reid
Hunt
walks off
family
into
would
the
do
sunset.
that. I don't think the Hunt family just to go from Andy Reid, who's got a pretty solid, I know his sons have had problems. Yeah, I was going to say his sons had problems, but Andy
It ain't
Reid,
just his sons. Jason, that's the organization with the literal most felony charges of any organization in football, the Kansas City Chiefs. This is come on now. I didn't throw out the Chiefs out of just to say the Chiefs. This is an organization that is accustomed to having a bunch of what we call shitbirds and be fine with it. The Hunts do not care. They want to win football games. DUI, hit and runs. Rashee Rice can run away. Tyreek Hill can hit a girl and walk away and get breath. They don't care over there in Kansas City. That's your place. You know better. They would welcome Vrabel with open arms. This is nothing. Oh, Vrabel, you just cheat on your wife? Oh, come on in. This is great news. I disagree. I think the Chiefs are a perfect fit for both.
JB, I think you just cooked a little bit there. I got you threw a curveball at me. Here's what I'll say. Andy Reid is so likable and so well respected among the media that helps the Chiefs get away with that. Vrabel's not going to bring that level of respect.
Let me break down the differences. Andy Reid's all his seemingly noise and stress, because King and Smitty thought they cooked me and they're, Andy Reid is the same thing. No, he don't. Andy Reid don't have no personal issues like Vrabel has right now. All eyes aren't on Andy Reid for what he did. All eyes are on Andy Reid for what happened in his family and his son before his Super Bowl, his other son's unfortunate passing, his other son, all this other stuff. He can go home to wifey and answer those questions in private and say, all right, he's not being filmed every day for what his kids did and what they do or what happened. There's a whole different stress level. This is the head coach being filmed every day for what he did. Totally different than what Andy Reid did and dealt with versus what Vrabel's dealing with. Vrabel walks away right now and handles that. Andy Reid didn't have to walk away because he had to face the adversity of his family and what has happened to the family at home with his wife. There was no infidelity. There was no all this other stuff. They had personal matters with his kids that he had to deal with. He could still be the head coach on site, demand excellence, coach him hard, do all that because that had nothing to do with him personally. It had to do with his kids. So at that point, it's totally different. Vrabel is a personal situation that all eyes are on him for. Totally different, in my opinion. I think the Chiefs could welcome him personally as a coach that actually kind of is in that boat of their players, Rashee Rice and the Tyreek Hills and the Hunt and all these other players. That makes perfect sense. I think it's a fit in heaven, a match made in heaven. In 2 years, though, because I think Andy still coaches another 2 years, walks off into the sunset. Great resume, and you bring in a Vrabel to demand greatness, and that nasty bark, that alpha male. I think it makes perfect
Vrabel
sense.
Played a year or two with the Chiefs at the end of his career.
That's what I'm saying. Yep, and it makes perfect sense to me, and he knows the family and everything. And I think personally, I'm going to call it. That's what I think is going to happen.
All right. JB, you're the perfect white guy. This will be our final topic. You're the perfect white guy for me to ask this question to. I hope I'm not putting you in a conversation you're not uninterested in. But have you heard about this ChudTheBuilder guy that's been going around Nashville antagonizing, trolling black people with the N-word and saying chimp out, blah, blah, blah? Have you been following this controversy at all?
No. Who?
29-year-old white guy. Calls himself ChudTheBuilder. He lives, 30, 40, 50 minutes outside of Nashville in Clarksville, Tennessee. He's been live streaming himself coming to Nashville.
The guy with the cowboy hat?
Cowboy, yes. Yeah.
I just been seeing him on across my feed. I didn't know what he was doing, but yeah.
Trolling black people with the N-word and saying they're chimping out and blah, blah, blah. And now other streamers, again, content over everything. Other streamers are talking about him and basically putting a bounty on his head and saying they're coming to town to confront him. And last night, we'll play side 8. He maced a guy that confronted him. Anyway, let's play the clip.
You on some shrooms or something? What are you on? I already told you I'm on your mama's sweet bitch. You're a bitch, bro. Literally, all you do is talk about your dick.
I'm sorry.
Come back over here.
Okay. Let's
come back over here.
Let's not fight. I am.
Touch me again. Touch me again.
I don't want to get pepper sprayed. I really don't.
Go pick up my hat. You heard me. Fuck your shit, bro. Touch me again. Touch me again. That's what I thought. Thank you. Hey, don't hit me with that shit. I ain't gonna pray you. That motherfucker wants to put his hands on me again. Go home with you. Let's go get his ass. Hail Hitler. Hey, thanks for picking up my hat. Look at this. Get her. Get her. Let's go get that dude.
So yesterday or 2 days ago, he got surrounded at a gas station by some black dudes, and he had to call the police. Anyway, this thing is inevitably going to end with someone, white or black, attacking this guy, and it, again, content over everything. He's building up a social media brand. Now, he could get seriously hurt. And JB, I'm going to give you just an additional background. There's some old pictures of this guy from 5-6 years ago where he was an overweight gay guy. I mean, or certainly flaming. What? Yes. And yes, that like, yeah, you see that? Yeah. And so there's like, he's had this transformation into this ChudTheBuilder. It looks like a MK Ultra psyop to me, that like he's been intentionally placed to play this role to spark racial division. But anyway, wanted your take. How should we handle this here in Nashville? Should I go down to Broadway and confront him?
You can't get him on the show.
I probably could, but I'm not. I
don't know. I didn't know much about this guy. I saw the cowboy hat and I knew that had to be the guy. I didn't know what he was doing. I don't know. This is a different type of white dude that I'm accustomed to, I guess. I can see how it's going to end, though. I know that. It ain't going to be a brother that ends up offing him. It's going to be a white liberal. Watch. Guarantee you. A white liberal will do it because his guard will be down. And that's who will end up taking this dude. If you assault him in public, it's concealed carry state, Tennessee?
Yeah, no, you can open carry. I mean, yeah,
it's open carry.
We're all armed out here in Tennessee. Yeah.
All right. So you're like Arizona, Texas. So
yes.
I love it. I love that, by the way.
Yeah.
So if this guy if a guy just walks up and hits him right in his jaw, and he shoots you, who's at fault?
I would that will get very messy. And
we're going to have a civil war. This is going to end up being the civil war movement right here, because somebody's going to, you could be onto something. This could be a setup. It's a setup, though. If that's his pictures that really was him.
That's what they're saying. Then
this is a setup. This is a setup. This guy is now this gangster walking around. Stop. Because real ones wouldn't do this.
It smells like a psyop to me. I've been telling people, like, man, y'all need to ignore this dude. It's a setup. It's not that. Who cares what he says? He's just out trolling people.
And I'll tell any brother I know, and I think I grew up with, they'd be laughing. I might not get caught up in this. You're setting yourself up for failure if you go screw with this dude.
Well, here's what's happened, JB. The streamer DJ Academics, the guy that the black dude did out.
Yeah,
okay, you know who he is. He has started suggesting, hey, anybody that walks up and assaults this guy, I'll start a GoFundMe for them.
Oh, wow.
And that, again, I could see that being the play here. Someone attacking him, they start a GoFundMe and raise $300,000-$400,000. Social media would love it. Or some white billionaire or some just billionaire would spread out the money and finance his GoFundMe for attacking this guy. It's a way to buy mercenaries around the country through GoFundMe. I think this whole thing is just a setup, JB.
Problem is, if they're trying to get the white folks they're trying to separate this whole thing anyway, the whole country's all screwed up. If they're trying to do this for the white folks to go out in a protest manner, like a George Floyd or something, they're not going to get that. There ain't no white folks that are going to go out and start protesting if this guy gets offed in the Nashville street. See, that's the thing. It's
Well,
going to end up biting them in the butt.
no. Okay, let's say if they spark the right black person to attack him, and that black person gets charged with a crime. White liberals will protest.
Oh yeah.
That.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because
if a brother ends up getting messed up in this whole thing and goes to jail and found guilty of killing this guy, then you'll have a protest.
Yes.
But I'm saying the white folks are not going to protest for this white dude because I think we'll say this guy's phone. What are you doing? We're not.
Let me give you this scenario. Let's say he gets jumped. Let's say there's video of 3 or 4 guys jumping him, and nothing happens. And 3 or 4 black guys jump him. Nothing happens to them, or the police can't identify who it was, or whatever. Now you could get black people fired up.
Black folks or white folks? Black folks to me won't be involved.
If 3 or 4, I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. If 3 or 4 black guys jump him and beat him up, now you can trigger white people and get them upset.
But I still don't think the white folks are backing this dude.
No,
because I think the fake shit, this picture you showed me is coming out, and we're gonna be like, man, this dude's fake as hell, looking for clicks. Because these guys that are doing this, I despise the ones that go out and the pranksters.
Yeah.
And Home Depot, old man trying to just go about his life shopping, and this is what they do for streams, clicks, and likes, and all that. That's why Smitty wants to do streaming and stuff. I'm like, dude, I just can't do it. That's just not me. If you throw $1 billion at you like Rampage Jackson gets, then what would you do it? I'm like, well, of course anyone would think about it, but I said I'm not doing it in that manner. I'm never going to change. I'm not going to put up my character and integrity for clicks and likes. I'm not going to go disrespect an old person at a Home Depot like these idiots do. That's the one I despise. So this guy falls in that category to me, especially if those are his old pictures. This is COE, like you said. I don't know if this is sustainable, because at the end of the day, I think it dies out. And I think
I got a brilliant idea. I'm glad we had this conversation. I got a brilliant idea. The Justin Pearson guy, the politician here in Tennessee. Did you catch this guy yesterday? That we redrew the congressional maps here, and Memphis isn't going to have a congressional district anymore, and blah, blah. And so now Memphis has been represented by a white gay Jew for 20 years. But somehow we've lost our black representation. Even for 20 years, it hasn't been black, but somehow we lost our. And so this Justin Pearson, who's a part of state government here, threw a tantrum and went after police. Let's play the video of Justin Pearson going after the law enforcement guys.
I'll walk him out. Y'all going? Let go. Now you got me all tied up. Now you got me all tied up. My brother ain't doing nothing to nobody. He ain't doing nothing to nobody. You'll walk out like yourself. Move the back. Boy! Yeah, let Pearson go. Let Pearson. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? You stupid mother.
Now, let me give you a little context here. That's why I'm all dressed up today, JB. Let me show you the before and after pictures of Justin Pearson. This transformation they did to this guy. Can we show those pictures? Oh, hold on.
Let me ask you a backstory real quick before you get that.
Yep.
This white dude walking around Nashville or whatever.
Yeah.
He's going around by himself, filming himself, or he got a filmer, obviously.
I think he's got somebody with him.
So has he got an entourage? He's got to have an entourage.
I don't know if it's an entourage. I don't know if it's.
There's no way this guy's walking around solo dolo with one guy filming him and not a bunch of guns or something around him.
He does carry a gun. He does, carry a gun. That's Justin Pearson before, when he was just
know why.
And then,
shit.
Anyway, shouldn't Justin Pearson go confront ChudTheBuilder? Wouldn't that be great content? Wouldn't that be something that a state politician from Nashville, Tennessee Justin Pearson should be out policing and cleaning up the Chud the Builder guy. I want to make that happen. I may have to put a bounty or some money on the street for Justin Pearson to go confront Chud the Builder. Two psyops colliding.
This is all a joke, man. We got other stuff to worry about right now. Like I just popped my tire on a pothole over here, but my taxes are through the roof, and my money went to Ukraine, and now it went to Iran. Like, what's going on? Can we fix America first? Jeez.
JB, I'm gonna let you go because I got to get to my other show and I got to get my Friday started. Thank you so much. Great job as always. Tell Sean King he ain't cooked nothing. And JB had a nice appearance, but as always, I prevailed. All right, give me 2 minutes. I'll be on the Harmony Channel with Anthony, Virgil, and Shamika talking about Justin Pearson in a more serious fashion than I did at the top of the show. We'll be on the Harmony Channel. Thank you for watching here on Fearless. We'll see you next week.